Time I effed up by lying to my GF about who I am. Okay, so for context, this didn't technically just happen today, it has been a long time coming, and I now realize how much I've effed up my relationship with my GF. Throughout my life, I had suffered with quite extreme bullying, domestic abuse, always looking and feeling extremely ugly, and homophobia for being bisexual in a very small, very old-fashioned town. I always felt like I stuck out and in the worst way possible. I felt genuinely awful about myself every day. I was very depressed and contemplating suicide by the age of 10, self-harming by the age of 12, anorexic by the age of 14, and struggling with social anxiety throughout my life. My only line of support were my pets, as dumb as it sounds. They were everything to me. They loved me and I loved them, and that was all there was to it. I started dating my ex-GF at age 14, and it was my first experience with that kind of relationship. However, she sort of dated me out of pity and, as I now know, as a way for her to feel better about herself. She cheated on me several times and would be telling everyone about it in front of me. She physically and verbally abused me, and I never stopped it because I thought at least she loves me. I began practicing Judaism as a coping mechanism and told no one. I eventually hit this breaking point in my life. I was 15. My pets all passed away within a year of each other. I realized my then GF had no love for me at all and didn't even care. She was threatening to leave me for someone else, and for the first time in my life, I took a stand and just said, "Fine, then go." I realized that after all she did to me, I didn't love her. I just wanted to be loved. Anyways, that brings us to the problem. After this breaking point, I dyed my hair, curled it, cleared up my skin, started wearing height boosters, deepened my voice, went to the gym, went on a diet to benefit my appearance, changed my music taste, altered some of my interests, changed my dexterity, tackled my social anxiety, acted way more confident than ever before, becoming more extroverted, became quite an emotional person, so I'd never have to hold any of it in again, and told my people that the reason I practiced Judaism was because my family were Jewish. As I did this over lockdown when I came back to school as an almost 16-year-old, nobody even noticed that the person I was before had gone, that how worthless I was. But now everyone began to notice me. They liked me or respected me for my newfound popularity. I made new friends, one of them being my current girlfriend. Wanting to desperately, genuinely be the person I was trying to be, I acted as if it was all natural and I had never been different. The few that remembered me soon forgot who I used to be and associated me with my new self. As my GF was one of the people I made friends with, she was under the impression that this was my genuine, natural self. And when I began dating her at age 17, I decided to keep up the facade because for the first time I really loved my life. I loved who I was, and I didn't want that to change. I wanted the person I used to be to just be dead and forgotten. However, we're now 19, in uni together and strongly committed. I love her more than life itself, and I do everything I can to prove that to her. I can't wait to marry her and have kids. I think about that every single day. However, besides the height boosters in my shoes, hard to hide, she doesn't know anything else of my original self. I know that I've really effed this up by not telling her by now, but I couldn't bear to even remind myself until now. It's all been such a race and so much fun. It's been the best years of my life and I feel so free. However, I have one thing holding me back, and that's guilt. Me and my GF are incredibly open with each other on every issues, and I love that about us. I've told her my life story and told her I changed myself, but never elaborated or told her the extent to which I did it. I feel guilty for hiding anything and know that something has to give at some point. If I don't, she'll somehow find out by hearing from my family that I dyed my hair or that they're not Jewish. I no longer practice Judaism, and so that one especially just makes me feel so guilty. What do I do? I've really effed this up, do I tell her? Do I see how far it'll go? It could last me forever, but I feel increasingly guilty.
Story 2. She expected an inheritance from my late husband. My husband passed away 2 years ago. He was a remodeler who had a broad list of clients. For a time, to help out the adult daughter, let's call her Kiki, of my good friend of 42 years, Ami. He would hire her as a helper on some of his larger remodeling projects. During that time, Kay would occasionally borrow things for her own projects: a portable CD player, a pair of channel locks, a winch and come-along, a table saw, chainsaw, a Graco cart paint sprayer, and an air compressor and nail gun. They were all borrowed clean, in working order, in good condition with all relevant parts included. Every single one of them was returned with great delays, all broken and missing significant parts and a crap ton of excuses. Over 2 years, Kiki managed to cost him nearly $5K in losses. Finally, he also quit hiring her as a helper because he caught her stealing from one of his clients and forced her to put the item she took right back, and then kicked her off the job immediately. Last September, I was visiting Ami and Kiki was there, and then Kiki hit me up for what she called her promised inheritance, which was the first I ever heard about it. Given that my hubby and I spent the 8 years of his terminal illness talking about what he wanted after his death, given that he gifted things of his that he wanted friends to have before he died, I knew damn well he didn't intend for Kiki to have anything. My husband left no will. Ami knew that my hubby had quit lending her tools after getting the cart paint sprayer back. It was a $1,200 purchase and was less than 4 months old when it was borrowed and returned broken in ways the warranty would not cover. Ami also knew Kiki's attempted theft had caused him to refuse to have her work on anything with him for any reason. Ami was also a victim of her daughter stealing from her as well. Now, our state is a community property state. When a spouse dies without a will, only the surviving spouse inherits. So Ami told her daughter to back off, and I got the bright idea of how I was going to handle getting rid of all that broken stuff which was still taking up room in the tool shed, so I told her I'd be sure to pick something out for her even though her own behavior was the root cause of the bad blood between herself and my husband. So, the next day, with Amy's help, I dropped off all the broken tools and the busted-up CD player Kiki borrowed from my hubby at her apartment. Kiki wanted to know what I expected her to do with all of it. I told her that I expected her to do with them whatever it was she had expected my hubby to do with them, after she returned them in the condition they were in. Now she is the proud owner of a bunch of useless tools, and I got to reclaim nearly 35 SQF of space in what is now my tool shed.
For more stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.